Good evening, everyone. It is 6 p.m. and as mayor, I will call the meeting of the West Richland City Council to order on September 7th, 2026. However, because I'm attending virtually this week, I will transfer the role of presiding officer to Mayor Pro Tem Bloom.
Thank you, Mayor Brink. Before we get started, I asked City Clerk Stephanie to read the hybrid meeting ground rules and then call the roll.
Thank you. Tonight's meeting will be held in person with a virtual meeting component. If you are participating virtually, please make sure the name shown at the bottom of your video view is the name you would like the Mayor Pro Tem to use. You can change this by right-clicking on the three dots in the upper corner of your video view and clicking Rename. Audience members present in the council chambers will be called upon first during public comment periods. Those participating remotely should virtually raise your hand if you wish to speak. To virtually raise your hand, click on Participants and then click on Raise Hand. If you are participating by phone only, press *9 to raise your hand. Please limit comments to 3 minutes. Okay, roll call. Fred Brink.
Present.
Richard Bloom.
Here.
Cole.
Here.
Goodfedo.
Here.
And Ritchie.
Here.
John Smart.
Here.
And Stoker.
Here. Now moving forward with our agenda, Councilman Ritchie, will you please lead us? Oops. Councilmember Moran just arrived. Okay. Councilmember Ritchie, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Council, the agenda is before you. Are there any changes? If so, okay. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second. I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We have an agenda. Presentations. Kevin Lewis from Visit Tri-Cities is here with us this evening to give us the Visit Tri-Cities annual report. Kevin?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. It's good to be here. Mayor Brink, it's good to see you online. And the rest of you, thank you for giving us an opportunity to come and present a little bit about our year. I think I've got a presentation coming up. Is that right, Stephanie? There we go. Our annual report. We love to get out to the cities and just kind of talk over the year and express our appreciation for the support that you've given us over the course of the year. Some really great things happen. One of them's hanging on your wall here. We're excited to see that poster up there with all the signatures from the Ironman folks. But let's kind of go through the basics really quickly. As most of you know, but just as a matter of review, Visit Tri-Cities is a 501c6 organization. We're funded by 3 different sources. We've got lodging tax, we've got tourism performance areas, and we have our partners, sponsors, and others that support us in that. We're also an accredited institution, so through the National Destinations International, which is the governing body for destination marketing organizations, we go through a pretty rigorous process to get our accreditation. It says we're living the way we should, doing the way things we ought to. And our mission, as you can see, really is just about fueling transformational growth in the Tri-Cities through tourism. So we'll talk through that a little bit. Next slide. This is just kind of gives you a summary of the visitor economy in this area. So about $643 million come into the area each year from visitor spending, the money from the outside that comes in and spent in our area. It supports about 5,900 jobs throughout the community. We all utilize some of those facilities and the restaurants and the recreation and the outdoor activities that we have here. And through those businesses, there's about 1.1 billion in business sales that are accumulated through all of that spending and everything. So visitor economy is pretty good. You can look down at the bottom of that slide there. It shows the breakdown of where most of that spending comes. And that's all presented through reports from Tourism Economics, which is an industry-leading economics organization. They do all the study and research, gather that data, and help us come to terms with that. So that's really what we're about. To do that, we have an office that's based on 5 strategic pillars. We have strategic sales, effective marketing, proactive community engagement, collaborative destination development, and meaningful and innovative operations. That's everything we do sort of fits under one of those categories. We try to align ourselves there's a lot of things we could do, and we need to make sure that it aligns with our strategies. And so that's what we do. But the essence of that is helping people see and feel the good that's in the area and celebrate that. We like to say, if you build a place that people want to visit, you build a place where people want to live. And if people want to live there, they work there and they invest there, and that cycle just continues. And so in the same way that cycle continues, the economic cycle continues as visitors invest their dollars here. That money churns through our community and goes around and around, and we invite those people back over and over again. We hope to spend some more money and keep our businesses going and keep our community, the vitality alive. Next slide. This is really as a breakdown. I talked about those 3 financial revenue streams that we have. The top one shows that the total revenues this year from that were about 3.6 million. It came into our office. 66% of that was spent in tourism, came in from the tourism promotion areas. Those are assessments that the hotels make to the guests. So this isn't a tax. It's just something that in that tourism performance area, they've created that they want to develop and market and promote the area. So the hotels actually add an assessment to the lodging, which in our case is $3 per room per night. That's what they've agreed to do. And so they collect those dollars, and then those dollars eventually they go through the state, but they come back to our organization to market and promote the destination. And all that money has to be used to market and promote the destination. So that's the biggest percentage of our revenue source. The second is lodging tax. And that's an actual tax that visitors pay when you stay in a hotel room. There's the lodging tax that goes with that. And so we've got about 23% of our income comes from lodging tax. And then another 11% comes through those sponsorships and through partners and organizations that feel like we're doing the kinds of things that they want to see done and maybe align with their strategies. And so that's where we get that. The bottom chart there shows you where we spent that money. We spent about 3.1 million of the 3.6 that came in this year, mostly for convention and sports sales and marketing. Some for administration, and then we operate a visitor center and do some other services there. So it's a breakdown of that. The next slide talks about some of the successes. And so looking through those strategic pillars in the sales end, we hosted or convened to help support 160 different conventions and sports and group activities this year. That's down just a little bit. If you look at the number of events that happened, it's down about 4.8% from last year. But if you look at the next box, the number of visitors that came was up 10.9%. So we had fewer events and more visitors. That's actually a good combination. If you can do more with less, right? That's a good thing. And then the revenue stream, about 37 million, up about 4.3%. Some of the big ones that we get excited about, I call these sort of the pillars of the castle. Ironman's one of the big ones that we love, but USA BMX, we had a national event here this year at the BMX park that happened out there. The events of the Tri-City Raceways, the series, we call that one of our signature, that series, we call it a signature event. So we're really focused on those. This one didn't happen this year, but we signed the agreement this year for the American Cornhole League. They're going to come in and do a tournament at the Hapo Center next year. Well, actually, sorry, this year in June. So 25, we signed the agreement. June of 26, we host the event, and that will actually be showcased on ESPN Plus. So that's a new wrinkle, and we're getting some TV coverage there. The next one there is a USSA. That's the Chicano state games, and their national games happen here in the Tri-Cities each year. So 2 events, one in August, one in September. So just a couple of those signature events. That's one of our strategies, newer strategies, is to try and find those niche events that bring a little more. They bring the visitors for sure, but they bring a little more attention to the area. We get media publicity and different things from those events. That's the sales side. If you go on, we'll talk a couple of them specifically just to give you ideas of impact. Ironman, it's about a $6 to $7 million economic impact to the area each year. 7,500 visitors. They come from 45 states and 20 countries. And you see this surge of positive media exposure when that event happens. And the athletes and the participants give it a 94% positive feedback, which is one of the highest of all the Ironman races. If you look at the next slide, you'll see some really neat awards that we won this year. And the Athlete Choice Awards, our run was voted the best run in the world, not just North America, but in the entire world, which I was over on the west side this weekend. I was wearing my Tri-Cities Ironman hat. And somebody stopped me and said, "Is that an Ironman? Where's that at?" And I said, "It's in the Tri-Cities." "There's an Ironman in the Tri-Cities?" And so we started talking about it. And I mentioned, I said, "Yeah, it's really one of the better ones. We just won the Athlete's Choice Award for the best run." And they just looked at me and were just stunned. Like, why, how, what? And so then I got to talk about the great run course that we have, the scenery that we have along there, everything that goes along with that. But one of the most important factors in that, I think, in the voting is because of the support that we get from our community. As you go along that run course up and down the river, community residents are just lining the course and cheering them on all the way. And those athletes remember that. They take away that feeling with them, and that's why they voted it so high. So, but over the course of 2 years, we've won the number 1 run course in the world, number 2 swim course in North America, and number 3 overall race. So some pretty significant awards in the Ironman space. There's 114 of these events around the world. So to place in the top those 3 categories, it's pretty significant. We're excited about where that one's going. This is what I like even more, some of these comments, and I won't take too much time to read those, but just want to kind of highlight this concept of how friendly our people are, how beautiful this place is. One of those comments says, I would have never thought of this area until I came here for the race, and now I want to come back and I'm considering moving here. I think that's what these events do for our areas. They introduce people to the area and show them something that they might not have expected before. So I love this. Truly one of the best, races that I've ever been to in 25 years, whatever. The other thing I think that's really solid with these events is how they bring out the community pride and support. And I think that may be one of the biggest factors of doing these kinds of things. Just so many people get involved, over 1,200 volunteers, all of the agencies and community leaders and everybody that's supporting that. You folks have been heavily involved in that and seen that as you put it together in the city. And so we just appreciate that. One of the things we tried to do this year in the next slide is to do something to kind of give back, to build on that swell of community pride. And we created a program called I Am Tri. And it's a program, I'll liken it to a scholarship program where we take applications for people who have barriers to entry, challenges in life that might make that difficult or unforeseen. And we take their applications and we choose 2 local residents to participate each year. These are our 2 from last year, Michael McKinney and Maricela Vargas, both trained and competed in the event. Both were able to finish it through the support that they had from the community, to the tune of about $10,000 each in sort of training, coaching, and gear packages, and then the race entry and all of that. So it's quite a significant investment. But the stories that they have to tell are just phenomenal. And we just went through the application process again and selected 2 more for this year's race. And so you'll see those highlighted over the next few years. I think I might have a picture of them in here. Nope, I don't think so. I didn't know you get it. Anyway, that's Mike and Maricela, and you can see just the excitement on their faces, and just again this idea of using events like this to create path of hope and do some good in the world. So that's what that's about. Those are our 2. I thought I had them in the slideshow. So Jaime Vera and Mario Genches will be our applicants this year, both with unique circumstances that you would not expect these two to be preparing for an Ironman event, but they're going to gear up and do it, and they've got the determination and the attitude to do it. So we're excited about that. A couple other things that happened through our efforts. We talk about building something extraordinary, and that's what we're trying to do, building this kind of castle of a community. But our sales team, through their efforts this year, they sent out about 164 leads to the hotels and to the venues and whatever to bring in new events. Booked 149 total bookings, 135 attendees, 135,000 attendees, with about 35,000 room nights and 28,000 in convention and sports economic impact. So that's future stuff that our sales team's working on. Next slide. And well, I guess the thing about that, one of the reasons I put it there is connected it to that convention center expansion. That's one of the reasons that that's happening, is we continue to book these groups in, and that allows this development of our facilities in our area. There's a bigger need for those bigger conventions and things, so that expansion is going to help us. On the marketing side, this gets down to the kind of strategic marketing tactics, or advertising, or social media efforts, or PR and a website and all of that. About $30 million in campaign impact. So we use some real sophisticated tools to track our advertising and see if people see our ads and then show up on our destination. And we're able to track about $30 million for that. Basically a 98 to 1 return on investment that we're able to track. So people are seeing our ads and they're responding to them, and they're showing up here in the destination. Website visits are up, partner referrals are up. So people that go to our website, we got more people going to our partners' websites, the other hospitality agencies and organizations. Social media audience grew and our engagements are up. So some good things happening on the marketing side. Next slide. Wow, I guess that's about it. I just hit those two core components. Some really good things going on in the collaboration that we have with our communities and the destination development. We're really appreciative of everything that West Richland does. It's a great community to work with. Your staff, your agencies, the folks that you work with, and your leadership are really solid in this community. And we really appreciate what you do to make these kind of things possible. It's great working with you. Any questions you have, I'm here for you.
Oh, the mayor.
Yep,
has-
Mayor Pro Tem Bloom, thank you. If you don't mind, I just want to thank Mr. Lewis for coming tonight. I will point out, though, the 5 signature events that you listed, 2 of those, at least one partially takes place in West Richland, the bike race for the Ironman. But of course, the Tri-City Raceway is exclusively in West Richland. So I look forward to the day, and we'll work with you when you contemplate renaming your organization Visit Quad Cities.
There you go.
Thank you very much, Kevin.
Thank you, Mayor.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate your support.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis.
All right. Thank you. Have a great night.
Tonight's consent agenda includes approval of the minutes from the regular meeting, March 17th, special meeting, March 10th, motion to award well 12R Phase 1 project, motion to update the HRA Verba account so that sick leave accrual is deposited into the employee's HRA Verba account upon retirement, motion to award Bombing Range Sports Complex fencing project. Is there anyone from the audience who would like to comment on items on the consent agenda? Anyone online? I don't see anyone. Stephanie? Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We have a consent agenda. Now we come to the first opportunity for citizens' comment. For items not on the agenda, if you wish to provide comment, come to the podium and state your name and city of residence. You'll have 3 minutes to provide comment.
Oh. Hello, City Council members. My name is Deborah Humphreys, and I live at 4705 Collins Road. And first, I am here tonight to reiterate the idea to discharge fireworks only on the 4th of July and New Year's Eve with no aerials or no mortars. Secondly, I am here to support the letters that you all received last November from the Pasco City Council and the Kennewick City Council and the Richland City Council, which they all strongly, Pasco supports the West Richland consideration to ban the aerial fireworks, and the Kennewick strongly supports West Richland to ban the aerial fireworks, and the Richland City Council has banned the discharge of aerial fireworks. And other cities that have total bans on fireworks are Prosser, Yakima, Grandview, Natchez, Sela, Sunnyside, Toppenish, and Union Gap. Benton City and Walla Walla allow non-aerials and fountains and sparklers only. And a few other concerning points. The sales of fireworks are out of control. The Benton County Fire Department is truly overwhelmed with the free-for-all event we have. We are causing regional issues for the firefighters that requires help from helicopters. How can we expect our regional firefighters to help us when they have asked West Richland not to discharge aerials and mortars? And our environment is a perfect storm for devastation. And many of our property owners choose natural vegetation over the expense to irrigate with our precious water. So I ask you, who is willing to be held responsible for the financial consequences and obligations that will occur in West Richland? Let's find a safer place to discharge fireworks, not over residential areas with pockets of 127 acres of BLM land in the Willamette Heights 6 and 8, where it is 100% illegal to discharge any fireworks. So I ask you, please, do not put us in harm's way anymore. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Please state your name and city.
Gary Lancaster, 6796 Pyrite Court in West Richland. My concern is the water pressure that we don't have up there. We got like 42 pounds and it won't even stretch out a garden hose. If it's got a kink in it, it doesn't do anything. And that's my concern. And it's not just mine, it's all the neighbors around that we've talked to. Okay?
Thank you. Is there anyone else?
Hi there, my name is Sarah Baumgardner, and I'm here on behalf of the Benton Franklin Health District, and I live in Kennewick. Good evening, Mayor Brinks and Council. I'd like to invite the council and community members, everyone that's here, and anyone that's online. We are going to be sharing and discussing our Community Health Improvement Plan, which we refer to as the CHIP. It's basically a 3-year game plan to help the people that you serve, our residents and businesses, and improve community health as we grow, focusing on the needs that are unique to our region. The CHIP is the product of almost an entire year of focus groups, collecting data and listening to the people that live in Benton and Franklin counties. And while public health can help diagnose the health of our community, we need your help. And together we can create lasting change. And in our CHIP, we're focusing on 5 key priorities over the next 3 years: access to healthcare, safe drinking water, housing, food insecurity, and mental health. Here's one of the things that we've learned through this process. So think about a cafeteria table that seats 5 children. One of those 5 children is facing food insecurity. And that's more than 10,000 children in Benton County alone whose family can't reliably afford food. At our CHIP launch party, we'll address our plans for the future and connect leaders in our community with partners to further collaboration so we can bridge that gap and make sure no child is hungry in Benton and Franklin counties, and address all of our other priority areas as well. The event will be held on Wednesday, April 29th from 3:30 to 5 p.m. at the Richland Public Library. It's an opportunity to hear about the plan, to ask questions, and to learn how partners can get involved. And we do ask that people RSVP, and a link is available at the BFHD website at bfhd.wa.gov/CHIP. Or if it's all right, I have some handouts I can give you. And then if anyone else in the chambers would like a copy, I'm happy to give that to you as well. Thank you so much. We hope you'll join us and appreciate your time and your commitment to making West Richland a great place to live. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You can give.
Okay.
Anyone else? Anyone online wishing to make public comment? I see no one. Raise your virtual hand or *9 on your telephone. I see no one. Do you, Stephanie?
I don't see any hands, no.
All right, well, next we have ordinance, resolutions, and motions and public hearings. Item 8A and 8B are public hearings on the resolution to approve the goals and policies for the transportation element of the comprehensive plan. Public Works Director Roscoe Slade will present the staff report.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Bloom. So what you have before you, council, is the transportation element of the comp plan, the proposed goals and policies. Counties and cities planning under the Growth Management Act are required to do periodic updates to their comprehensive plans and development regulations on an 8-year cycle. Senate Bill 5558 has pushed the deadline for counties and cities, including West Richland, with updates due in 2026 from June 30th to December 31st of this year. So they gave us a little extra time. Community Development Mendenhall is running through all the other chapters. Public Works is taking the lead on the transportation element. And so we've hired a consultant, Transpo. They're the ones that manage the regional model for the Ben Franklin Council of Government to go through our existing transportation element goals and policies that were adopted back in 2017. And what we asked them to do is to make sure that everything is current with GMA as far as requirements, go look through language redundancies, and provide recommendations for what they see as changes for consideration. One of the other things was to look at goals and policies and see if there's any that need to be removed. There was a few that were in there that were specific, like update our 6-year tip. Well, that's an RCW that requires it. We don't need it in the comp plan. So things like that were recommended to be removed. On March 24th, 2026, the City Council's Utility and Street Committee went through the consultant's recommendations for the 7 goals. And I think there's 46 policies associated with those 7 goals. And then there's supporting text that also went along with that. The subcommittee is made up of Councilmember Smart, Stoker, and Ritchie. Again, met on the 24th to review these. And out of that, the committee recommended that policy 5E be revised. It had maintained concurrency between transportation and development for all multifamily, commercial, and industrial development, it had the language of requiring binding site plans for that. That's just one of the tools. And so they recommended striking that language out, that binding site plans aren't the only way to obtain concurrency. On March 26th, the Planning Commission held a public hearing and to review the 2026 comprehensive plans, transportation element goals and policies. There was no public comment received at that Planning Commission meeting, and the Planning Commission recommended council approve these with the noted policy 5E revised that came from the Utility Committee. So I'm not going to go through all of 46 of the policies, but I will just since we do have an audience, I will go through the 7 goals just to they're aware. Goal 1, plan and maintain a safe and efficient transportation system to serve the planned uses of the urban growth area. Goal 2, coordinate transportation system improvements and service level standards with other jurisdictions and providers to promote economic development consistent with adopted comprehensive plans. Goal 3, build features into the roadway system that promote function, safety, and aesthetics for the user. Goal 4, develop a coordinated active transportation system. Goal 5, maintain transportation facilities to maximize the life of the public investment to afford safety. Goal 6, provide a transportation system that minimizes adverse environmental impacts. And Goal 7 was a new one the consultant recommended adding that deals with financing transportation. So it's fund and implement the transportation system based on its benefits to the community, regional priorities, and allocated funding. So those are 7 goals. I won't go through the 46 policies, but we can enough there to open up the public hearing on the.
Thank you. I'll now open the public hearing at, I'll guess on the clock time, 6:31. I know, but that clock's wrong. Anyone wishing to we will hear in-person comments and virtual attendees. If you are in attendance and wish to speak, please come forward to the podium, state your name and address for the record. You will have 3 minutes to provide your comment.
Sarah Letard. I live near Spirea and Enterprise Park. And I have a few things I want to bring up just for people to think about, and then I'll send an email afterwards that probably will be a little more sensible. But first thing, just very small comment. I got my card reminding me to take the West Richland survey on Saturday, a couple days ago. I've talked to other people who had just received theirs in the last few days as well. So I don't know who dropped the ball. Figured I'd mention it because there's been historically, since I've lived here, a lot of problems with people ever filling that survey out. So something's wrong. Next comment is fireworks. The main thing I want to mention.
Excuse me, this isn't public comment. This is comment on the transportation plan.
Oh, okay, I thought it was the next item on the agenda.
Oh, that will
Okay.
come next.
Okay, then I will wait. Sorry about that.
So anyone have any comment on the transportation elements of the comprehensive plan? No. Anyone online wishing to comment on the transportation plan, please raise your virtual hand or *9 on your phone to raise your virtual hand. I don't see one. Okay, I'll close the meeting at what? Close comments. I'll close comments. I'm trying to get back to my clock at 6:34. Um, uh, do I have a motion?
I move to pass Resolution 1526, adopting the transportation element goals and policies for the 2026 update of the comprehensive plan.
I have a motion and a second. Does council have any questions that were not previously addressed by the staff report provided? No? Well, I'll ask one question. I notice we've sort of tried to do away with the horses. And the other comment I had, it's not important, but we keep going back and forth between ride share and carpool. Technically, within most of the aspects, it should be ride share, but other than that, there's nothing significant. Mr. Smart.
Yeah, I'll follow up with your comment and question sort of on the equine horse activity. I asked the same question during our subcommittee, and basically all of the modes of transportation have been wrapped into this term called active transportation. Is that right, Roscoe? Yeah, active transportation. So I had asked that maybe we include a definition of what is active transportation, but it's evidently all encompassing, and there are portions in the text that do still mention equine and other modes of transportation. So I think it's covered, but it's not explicitly stated in every single paragraph. So I think we're still there.
I do notice it's mentioned in there.
I like
the number of times it was deleted.
Yeah, I like the fact that we hopefully will still maintain our sign coming into town that says, please dismount and lead horses over the bridge. So it's a characteristic of West Richland I hope to not lose anytime soon.
Thank you. Any other comments? Nope. With that, I'll take a vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Unfinished business. We do not have any unfinished business, and we do not have any new business. Next up, we'll have a second opportunity for public comment. If you wish to speak, come up to the podium, state your name, city of residence. We'll have 3 minutes to provide comment.
So anyway, like I just was about to say, so fireworks, everyone's going to argue. There's lots and lots of people have opinions. I just want to say, I really hope that the discussion keeps going and that people are really talking about what's an actual something we can do. Doesn't have, nobody's going to be totally happy, but this is not an issue that's just going to go away. And my next thing, which is not related to fireworks specifically, but is just the concept of community building. We have all this division going on about some issues, but there are a lot of people who live here who really like this place and really care and really believe in working together. And I feel like that's a resource and it could be promoted. And there's lots of things. I just jotted down a few things that might, people just hadn't mentioned earlier in the day. Tourism and transportation are things that matter to this community. Educational outreach in the schools, or people that can come to your house. If you, wanted to learn more about dementia, if you want to learn more about fire safety, if you want to, have help inspecting your home playground equipment, whatever. I hope that the city can promote that a little more. I know it costs money. It's hard. That's a whole separate topic, I guess. And specifically, I wanted to mention landscaping, wise water use. I lived in New Mexico for 48 years. So I am a lot familiar with really having no water. And it was actually kind of interesting to me when the previous speaker was mentioning the low water pressure. And I'm like, I've never had a hose that you could just turn on the water and unkink the hose. Like that's, it's a different world. Um, in Albuquerque, we managed for the most part to avoid major water, like rationing and things. It was hard, but the city paid for incentives like to update your landscaping or to come over and help you figure out your sprinklers, best watering schedules, a lot of little things, updating your appliances, grants that gave you a little extra money to help out with stuff like that. And I really hope that we can do things like that because I think we're looking at drought for at least a few more years. I don't know, maybe longer. And I hope West Richland can get ahead of it. Phoenix, Central Valley in California, Las Vegas have really had some really hard times because of water. Then there's my
Time
time's
is
up.
up.
I'll
Excuse-
send you guys an email. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to make comment? Anyone online wishing to make comment? Please raise your virtual hand or *9 if on telephone. I see no one. We'll move on to staff and council announcements, reports and comments. We'll start with Mr. Slade.
Just two items tonight. We had our Ben Franklin Council of Government Technical Advisory Committee last week, where projects selected for federal funding have to basically say whether they can meet the obligation deadline of September 30th this year. And if they can't, then they can get a mulligan that pushes their projects out a year. And we had two projects that weren't sure they could make it in the region. The reason it's important is the region, if you don't meet your spending obligations and get those monies obligated, there's a chance you can lose it. So it's really important that they deliver projects. But two of them needed to get pushed out, so their funding is still secured till next year, but it opens up funding of projects off the contingency list to meet the region's allocation for this year. And so West Richland's bombing range overlay project that will overlay bombing range from Keene to Blue Heron will get $475,000 of federal funds. So who is our TAC board or Ben Franklin Council of Government? Okay, let's go, Kate. That will be coming to the board. Make sure that gets a thumbs up. The other part of that funding, they're looking at doing a regional study. So, you've heard about the North Richland Bridge. You've heard about the east-west arterial across North Pasco to that from 395. You heard about the Red Mountain Interchange. They were all done as individual projects. And so the Council of Government's putting forward a study to basically connect them all, to look at it as a comprehensive thing. And so that'll be something else, Councilwoman Moran, that will be at the board thing. So, and secondly, Mr. Lancaster, if you can stay after the meeting, I'll talk to you about your water pressure and give you the rest of the story with that development. So thank you.
Mr. Mendenhall?
Thank you, Premier Pro Tem Bloom. So just want to remind everybody, this weekend is race weekend, so be prepared. However you may want to take that. It's going to be exciting out at the racetrack. So it'll be really starting Thursday with some of the practice laps and the heats that they run ahead of schedule. But the races are Saturday and Sunday. If you want to go, get online, go to Red Mountain Event Center, and you can get tickets there. That is a city facility that the Red Mountain Event Center leases from us. So it's good to have them and them bringing the number of people into our community to tour our community and enjoy our services that we have. Also wanted to give you an update on the survey. So thank you for bringing that up in your comments earlier. We've had 600, 900, 1,100 responses over the last 3 years that we've done this year. We are already at 1,500 responses. It's amazing what you can do when you sprinkle a little fireworks in the survey and the amount of response that you might get there. So we're excited to see what the community has to say about that, and hopefully we're getting some good responses. So that survey, the postcard was supposed to go out early last month. I won't blame anybody, but the post office dropped the ball and they were delivered to the post office. The post office did not deliver them to your door. So we sent another mailing out at no extra cost. We sent that mailing out and you probably all saw that hit your mailboxes this Saturday. So the survey was supposed to end on the 31st of March. It's been extended through Sunday. So midnight Sunday, it's going to be turned off. Our consultant's going to work through the numbers and get us all of their data and feedback early next week. So I'll have a report for council forthcoming on that and what the responses were and the breakdown. So if you could please fill out your survey by Sunday night. It's going to shut off midnight, Sunday night. So please fill out the survey. I'd love to get more than 16 or 1,800 would be just absolutely phenomenal, especially since we get about 2,400 that vote in the city out of the 18,000 residents. Not all are 18 or plus, but still, it would be great to at least get close to the voter count that we usually get. Last thing I'd like to bring up tonight is just a reminder, Lewis and Clark Ranch, it's coming to a head, so to speak. We've got the Planning Commission meeting this Thursday night at 6 o'clock for the public hearing. They will likely be making a recommendation that will be coming to you on the 21st for your first reading of that project and the EIS. And then the 5th of May, we'll come back to you for a second reading and hopeful decision.
Just for clarification, for those of us that follow elections a little closer, it's closer to 5,000 votes. And Ms. Hay.
I'm over here. Oh. There are.
I looked,
oh.
I saw your
Oh.
card.
Thank you. I know I get hidden over here in the corner.
Get you a flag.
Oh, that'd be fun. So just a few community events coming up to remind you all about. On April 18th, we'll have our annual Earth Day cleanup at Enterprise Middle School. So that's being advertised on the city website and on our social media. So check that out if you have some things that need to be disposed of. Also on that day, and I don't want to take away from Mayor Brink if he was going to mention it, he will be hosting Grounds for Conversation at Indulgences Coffee Shop with Chief Fry. That'll be from 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. So it'll be an opportunity for you to go chat with him and our police chief about things concerning you, or, all the kudos for his first 90 days in office. And then also a reminder to council, we do have our council retreat budget workshop coming up on April 27th. And that will be an all-day meeting starting at 9 a.m. and culminating around 3:30 p.m. So thank you.
Thank you. Council, any comments? We'll start with Mr. Ritchie.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I'm the new kid on the block, so I just got to go out to all of the new council or committee appointments that I got. And so that was interesting, meeting a lot of movers and shakers here in the Tri-Cities with the Port of Kennewick. Visit Tri-Cities, I kind of inserted myself there with Dave Fueto and Hanford Communities. If you've never been involved with any of these organizations, they're doing a lot in our city. Port of Kennewick, Vista Field, Clover Island, Columbia Gardens, Wine Viticultural Center. You come to the Visit Tri-Cities, we know about that. We know Hanford Communities, they're developing 5,000 plus acres out there in proximity to the DOE site. And, associated with the projects are, let's see, the National Historic Park project in lieu of taxes. That's money that comes back in that didn't come out of our pocket directly this time. So that was interesting. Cleanup funding, et cetera. So they have a big hand in what's going on there. Hanford tours are coming up May to September, and it's a first come, first served basis. I've been on it several times. I highly recommend it. So that will run, like I say, May to September. And then TriDec has a town hall coming up on May 6th. At 5:30. That'll be in Richland at the library, I believe. And if you've never been to a TriDeck Town Hall, it tells you a lot about what's going on in our town. Thank you.
Councilmember Moran.
Thank you. The big thing that I was going to mention that happened at the Ben Franklin Council of Governments meeting, Roscoe got to speak to, and I'm glad that you mentioned that West Richland had a project because I didn't see one at the time. So I'm glad that we've got one coming in there. So I'll look forward to that. Also, there is a Benton Franklin Transit Special Board meeting first prior to the board meeting for the Board of Directors this Thursday. So 4:30 is going to be the special board meeting, which is closed, and then at 6 p.m. is going to be the regular director meeting. And that is, and then since we're not meeting next Tuesday, Friday next week on the 17th is the Benton Franklin Council of Governments board meeting. It is just like the BFT and just like it always has been since I've been on it. It's going to be a hybrid, so virtual as well as in person, and that is starting at 9 a.m. on the 17th rather than 10 a.m. due to some events going on in the city. Thank you.
Councilmember Fetto.
Thank you. Just want to thank the community who came out for the Easter egg hunt on Saturday. And special thanks to Councilmember Cole and his wife who came out and helped us place 20,000 eggs down at Flat Top Park. It's very much like how a vacuum cleaner works. We had 20,000 eggs, and from the moment we said go, we do this in 4 age groups. 14 minutes for those kids to pick up 20,000 eggs, one age group at a time. So a ton of fun. We're talking about community building. The Chamber's got a lot of this if you're interested in getting involved and helping shape this community and provide events for our community and our youth. Chamber's always looking for volunteers. And then Kevin Lewis stole my thunder. Our board meeting for Visit Tri-Cities, I'm on the board, was 2 weeks ago, and that's where we got the news about being the #1 road race in the world. We're currently under negotiations for the contract to continue for the next 3 to 5 years. That's shaping up well. Yeah, to know that we had the #1 race in the world, road race, the road part of it. It's hard to beat that when the whole thing is along the river. We go up the river, turn around, you come back along the river, so it's hard to beat that. But the one thing that the racers mentioned was the support. West Richland, we had a couple of aid stations as the cyclists came through town. And I know we got a lot of comments about, people cheering and stuff from Rowan Jacqueline, who works with the city, participated last year. So that was all I have. Thank you.
Mayor Brink, do you have any comments you wish to make?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Bloom. I appreciate you presiding over the meeting tonight. I will just reiterate the mention that City Clerk Haug made with regard to my community meeting, Saturday, April 18th. I invite members of the community to come out to Indulgences between 9:30 and 11. Just sit down, have a conversation with me, with Chief Fry, and just tell me what your thoughts are, where we can improve, where we're doing well, or anything else that you want to discuss with me with regard to the city. And I will try to do this event on a quarterly basis. That's all I have, Mayor Pro Tem Bloom. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I have 2 comments. One, water pressure. Are you keeping the water a little higher these times, Mr. Slade? I have noticed it's been actually higher in the evening. Is that the new well pumping up? Nope. Keeping at the same level in those tanks. Okay. So the water pressure in the city is defined by gravity. So anyway, on April Fool's Day, April 1st, we had the Yakima Basin Fish Wildlife Recovery Board held their meeting in Tri-Cities at Ben Franklin Transit. And we got to go out and look at Bateman Island where they've removed the causeway. And I swear the water was going the wrong way, but that's okay. But I was pleased to see the note in the news about they're putting up a silt curtain around the intakes for Kennewick. That was my major concern. I commented on their removal of the causeway from the standpoint of there was 50 years of silt built up upstream of that causeway that's now moving downriver. We also went and visited Amon Creek. For those of you that aren't familiar, Amon Creek is the wastewater return coming down from Prosser, which Kennewick Irrigation District uses, and it's being rerouted out there in the Russian thistle or Russian olives to better serve the fish. And so it's cold water most of the year. It's actually a lot of groundwater, and so it's being rerouted to give a little pocket of cold water so that now Bateman Island is going to flush all that hot water that was backed up behind the causeway, flush that out the way, bring in some river water, some Columbia River water, and maybe encourage the fish to come upstream, because it is what is becoming clear all the way up the valley, whether Kittitas, Yakima, and Benton make up the Yakima Basin Fish and Wildlife Recovery Board, is if the fish can't get back, it doesn't matter how great a bed we make for them upstream. So the focus is on looking at things downstream at the lower part of the Yakima River, Stargrass. We also went and looked at the Benton Conservation District, which will be having a grand opening soon across the street. They've purchased 3 more boats for chewing up the stargrass in the river. So the Yakima River will be hopefully getting a little bit clearer. But just like what was brought up this evening, we don't have any snow in the mountains. The only good news is the reservoirs are full, but the snowpack isn't there. We need both. And so we will be looking at, they're estimating about a 60% water year. So, yeah. So, and that's all I have to report.
So I was going to comment earlier, but I was holding it. And now that you mentioned the snowpack, I just have to mention to everyone that there's a thing called the solar cycle. It happens every 11 years. And we are at the peak of the solar cycle right now. So you can imagine 2025 was the high peak. That's where we get the most solar energy. And then, so you can expect maybe 5 years from now, you'll actually have a winter again. So just for people's information, this is a scientific fact. You look it up, NASA's got a website. It's kind of fun, and it explains a lot about our snowpack and our rainfall and things like that. So fish transport and migration. So just for everyone's information.
I will report that we had more fish this year than we did last year. So it's improving, but it's not as bad. We've had 2 really bad years. So hopefully we'll get more fish and we'll have them spawning in the Yakima, in the lower Yakima again. So thank you. I think there's no executive session tonight, correct? So with this, the meeting concludes at 6:58.